Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Ted.
What do you do when the Grim Reaper visits your D&D game?
Hey, jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips as well as learn how to game with us.
So, character deaths in tabletop role-playing games, they happen from time to time. They happen more often in some groups than others. And there is definitely a part of the niche where people are just into this like meat grinder type game, and you can just expect it.
Right. Some of this has been prompted by a handful of things that have come up in the most recent tabletop role-playing game we played, which was Gamma World. There was a character death, and there was a little bit of discussion at the moment of declaration, and it was kind of was what it was. You can see the live play when that actually goes up.
Yeah, I fight and argue with Scott a little bit, but I misinterpreted something on one of the rules, which I still disagree with his ruling. Not the fact, not the outcome, because the outcome was actually 100% correct. But had I been right about the rule, Scott wasn't going to back down on his decision.
Correct.
Which would kind of like break one of the rules in the that is written in the game.
Right.
On something that he actually handed out. So so like that I would have had an issue with, but because I was wrong, it was irrelevant and didn't matter.
Now the other thing is that there's group conversations that happen. And I was talking to one of our fans on Facebook, and he talked about another role playing game out there called Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and in that game, it really is, in his opinion, a glorified way to just die. It is very hard to actually have a character survive in that game for any real length of time. So I was like, well, that's interesting coming from a mostly D&D background where there's a lot of different ways to save your character and to come back from death and what have you.
In later editions of the game, but the game that you're referencing is basically part of that old school revival. Has come out of that, and that's all those games are based off of first edition AD&D, second edition AD&D, where the game was a lot more brutal, was a lot more lethal. Dungeon masters may have been more adversarial in the way they ran the game as well. So there's all these different factors that kind of go into those games.
Right. So we just wanted to have a chat about character deaths at the table. When is it appropriate? What kind of things and when should a DM step in and save a character or whatever have you? So, as we had said in several other videos back in the day, it was definitely more of a, well, if your character died, your character died. Now, D&D has this more storytelling aspect where there's lots of ways to save your character, and it's more about a communal storytelling than, well, I'm out there to seek blood and to kill characters.
Well, the way we play it, and the way a lot of people play it, but I'm sure there's tons of people that still play the other way as well. There's a lot of different styles to this game. So character deaths, I think I've had 3, if I'm not missing any. Derek Wood Stalker, my high elf fighter druid. Was the first one that actually got murdered by his own intelligent weapon. And, me as a player was being immature. The DM might have been a little immature as well, but we were teenagers at the time, and we had a disagreement, so it beat me to death, pretty much. My second one, I don't even remember what I was playing. I just know that the character had gotten afflicted with lycanthropy, had, which actually saved him from his first death. And then the second time that he actually did die was we actually got saved from gargoyles by another adventuring party, and the cleric offered to heal me. Did cause wounds that just murdered my face. So that was my second character. That the third one didn't actually die, but it wasn't going to go well. I believe it's called Forgotten Realms. Is there a fortress or a place called Darkhold? I believe, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's the one in Thay or whatever. I have not messed around in the realms in a very long time, but this character I really enjoyed. This character was an elf that got reincarnated into an ogre magi after being afflicted with a girdle of masculinity, femininity. Yes, and so I think he didn't die. I think he got imprisoned as per the spell. And again, my DM kind of got me with another dick move, but basically I was investigating, looking for, I guess, spell books or something like that. And I just scried someplace I shouldn't have scried. They captured me and they're like, "Look, you know what? We're going to let you go if you do a service for us. We're going to cast a spell on you to make sure you do it." So they're like, so he made me think they were casting Geese on me, but instead they just cast in prison. Yeah, so they're the three that I can think of with this group.
You had, was it Tor, your kind of half-orc spear fighter?
Oh yeah.
He died, but he came back.
My human with orc ancestry got killed by like a death ward or something like that.
Glyph of Death.
And then he got reincarnated into a centaur. So that's like 4 deaths. But the last one, I don't really count it if they come back.
Right.
If they don't, if it doesn't stick.
Well, I've had a number of characters who have died and didn't stay dead, but I don't know whether he was a ranger or a swashbuckler or someone who was a martial character who we played way too late in the night. Wound up getting involved in a TPK. I had Grevin, my Duergar Psionicist, which was the very first character that I made in the game with Dave and Steve and Ryan and Nate way back in the day. He didn't make it. It was my first real death.
That was actually before Nate even joined the group.
No.
I don't think he was in the Evil Party.
He was.
I just don't remember killing him.
Because he was the one, I think he died by the Invisible Imp. Yeah, I think he had a half-orc fighter.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar now that you mention it. Because only the drow literally... Oh. The drow kind of escaped because it was paused.
Well, yeah, he had a sepia snake sigil on him.
Yeah.
And he was stuck in the top of the tower with his 14 hit points.
Yeah. But he was a necromancer of doom, as Steve would tell you.
Let's see. I know there's more characters.
Your half-orc died.
My half-orc, which one?
Ingronor, that was the one. That was the TPK.
No, my orc who fought with the double sword, he actually managed to make it back.
Is he the only one that survived?
He was the only one that survived.
Oh, so it was not a TPK.
It was not a TPK.
I lied. Oops.
Well, there was the one that we were playing late at night, and there was only 3 people in the party, and it was like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'd given clues that party totally got wiped, and then there was the original evil game that got wiped. There's only 2, TPKs.
I think I merged 2 of those games together.
But the Gronor game was a city in our old world that was full of orcs, and that's what most of the party was, orcs and half-orcs. And it's back when Phantom Menace was popular, and I made a character that was totally based off of Darth Maul. He fought with a double-bladed sword, and it actually wound up getting one that was an energy weapon, so it was really like Darth Maul. But he was the only one to survive. It's like seven party members. We got ambushed in the middle of the night, and he was kind of the commanding officer, so he chose the better part of valor to make it back to report.
I feel like if we had Ryan here, we'd have more deaths to talk about.
I know there's more, but there's so many, I just can't remember them all.
I don't think there's that many, to be honest with you, in all the time we're playing.
I want to say that there's a handful that I'm not remembering, because I know that I've got character sheets in the book that have deceased written across them. I don't know. It's one of those things that I think it happens and you just kind of move on after a while. Well,
the thing to remember is it's a game and you should be having fun, and part of that fun is making new characters. So the thing is to not take it personally and move on, make a new character. Keep playing the game.
So is there times that you feel as a DM you should step in and stop someone from dying in some way, shape, or form? Do you think it should totally be about the actions and the dice?
Some combination thereof. Like if you can, it's not like wrong to save the character, but you don't want to do it all the time either, because it kind of like lessens the meaningfulness of the randomness of the dice. It lessens the choices they make, and you don't want your players to think you're going to always save them.
Right.
So, have I done it? Yes.
I know in the previous example, my Undead Slayer, we were like second level in second edition, and you actually allowed him to be resurrected. You're like, you don't love that character enough yet. Let's keep the story going, and it was impactful because I really liked that character, even at second level, and like. There were definitely other times later on where it was a near thing of that character, getting wiped. But I feel as the further you go into the game, I think the easier it is to get resurrected, because you're going to have allies or characters in the party that are going to be of a level to actually be able to resurrect.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing 5th edition, even like probably 3rd edition, I don't remember how easy it was in 4th edition. But in 1st and 2nd edition, not quite the case. It wasn't always so easy to get someone to raise your character from the dead. Maybe if you were lucky to have a high level cleric in the party, you could have it done. I know, like, there was in the games I played in, there was always places you could take them, but like it was super expensive as well. So yeah, it depends on the style of game you're playing, really. And some players don't want their character brought back too. Like they just want to he died. Now I make a new one.
And as you said, it is definitely a part of the love of the game is to make a new character. And you know what? There's times that that character you make up as a backup, you actually wind up liking more.
What do you guys do about your player deaths, or not player deaths? Your players shouldn't really ever die at the table, just their characters occasionally. How do you handle it in your game? Does it come up? Do they always come back? Does you as the DM save them a lot of times? We'd love to hear your best death stories in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.